Dissent and tactical fouls are big issues in football, but do we really need blue cards to fix them? Sin bins have been on trial since 2019, and on the 2nd of March, IFAB, the board responsible for rules in football, will be meeting to decide how soon we'll see them in the top level, with blue cards looking likely in the FA Cup next season. More does need to be done to protect referees and stop tactical fouls, but I think there are better ways to do it without drastically changing the laws of the game.
We are moving towards the introduction of sin bins in professional football. Blue card referees could show them for dissent or tactical fouls.
The first new penalty card to be introduced into the game in 54 years.
Discussion will be, it was a blue card, should have been a yellow card, now it's 10 minutes off.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan, to be honest. I think that's what yellow cards are for.
You're going to have one team just sitting there trying to waste time for 10 minutes.
And they'll work on it in training. You're a player down, you drop off.
What we should be doing is just strengthening what we already have.
But I think slowly and surely we're moving towards having sin bins in football.
There's been a lot of talk about blue cards in football since IFAB leaked to the press that they're set to give the go-ahead for extended sin bin trials. It's certainly a big change in the rules, and we'll see players removed for 10 minutes if they commit a cynical foul or show dissent towards the referee. There have been extensive trials in grassroots football since 2019, and it has been very effective. They saw a 38% reduction in dissent, and most people involved wanted to see it continue. Referees do need more protecting, as they don't deserve some of the stuff that players say to them. Check out this clip from a grassroots football referee that ended up quitting because of all the abuse he received.
Because I'll tell you this now, 95% of what is said on the football pitch to a referee or to another player, if you said that on a street and you got reported, you'd be antisocial behaviour.
Paul, I take your point here.
The idea is, once players realise they could get a 10-minute sin bin, which will give the opposition a strong chance of scoring, dissent will be cut out of the game, and blue cards will rarely be needed. IFAB are also talking about introducing sin bins for tactical fouls, which is where a player makes a cynical foul to stop a dangerous counter-attack, like Chiellini's pull on Saka in the Euros final.
Saka was too smart in order to pass through me. First thing they have to do is pull him. For me, it's normal. Yellow card is better than consider transition. But not beautiful to watch, for sure. But it's something that I learned in my career, that you have to be effective and not beautiful.
Later in the game, players are happy to take a yellow to stop an exciting attack, which would have been enjoyable for fans to watch. But perhaps the threat of a blue card would stop that. But do we really need to punish tactical fouls more? Players can choose to do it once a game. And do we really want to see tactical fouls at the start of games being punished with a yellow card and 10 minutes in the sin bin? The big problem with sin bins, though, are that they're just a terrible punishment system for football. Players would just start faking injuries left, right and centre, doing everything they can to waste time, taking extra long over goal kicks. Unlike other sports, football doesn't have a stop clock, and it would just make it a lot less enjoyable to watch. It also just adds a whole nother layer of complexity to the game. Does that challenge just warrant a foul, a yellow or a blue card?
Like I said, every other game is trying to speed up. Every other sport is trying to declutter. All we're trying to do is go the other way for some bizarre reason.
How are they going to distinguish between a foul and a tactical foul? It just adds another subjective decision that these referees need to make. There are a lot of tactical fouls in the Prem, with nearly 300 recorded so far this season. That's a lot of time we'd see players in the sin bin. Blue cards would likely cut this down, but it'll also encourage players to go down at the slightest contact to try and buy blue cards. Attackers already go down way too easy, and this is certainly something we don't want to encourage in football. FIFA have already said that they think the idea of a blue card is incorrect and premature, but IFAB are still pushing ahead. I think there are better ways to try and stop dissent and tactical fouls without needing sin bins. I personally think the number one way to stop dissent is to introduce referee cams. We could have them wearing them during the games, and then afterwards they'd be able to prove what was said to them by the player. This would be especially useful in grassroots football, but also in the top level. Players would not want footage of them released where they're swearing or being aggressive towards the referee. That would certainly tarnish their image and seriously help to cut down on the amount of dissent that referees receive.
I'll tell you the one way to fix all this is to get rid of all that, put cameras on the referees and then have that as evidence. Then we can give out yellow cards and then go back to grassroots FAs or whatever FA is going to be and say, this is what he said.
Cost is certainly an issue, especially in the lower leagues, but for a game with billions of pounds where the top players are paid upward of 200k a week, cost of a £25 camera is not that significant. There are also other ways of reducing dissent without needing blue cards. IFAB are also looking at only allowing captains to speak to the referee, with any other player getting a yellow card. I also think retrospective punishments for players that are disrespectful would be useful, but that would only be possible if we had ref cams recording what the players were saying. And then lastly, we should look at just using the current rules more and being more on it with giving yellows to players that are disrespectful. Tactical fouls do make for fewer chances on goal by killing exciting counterattacks, but I think we could reduce them by just being stricter with the current yellow card rule. This chart shows where teams make their fouls on the pitch, and teams like Arsenal and City that play very high up the pitch and make most of their fouls in the final third can get away with huge amounts of tactical fouls that go unpunished. Take this foul by Gabriel against Manchester United in the 10th minute that didn't get a yellow card, or this tactical foul by Declan Rice in the 8th minute against Chelsea. These fouls went unpunished, but under the new rules they'd warrant a yellow card and a 10-minute sin bin. I think if we really want to stop tactical fouls, that these challenges need to be yellow cards so that those players can't make that same foul again. I also thought of the idea that we could make it easier for players to take a free kick quickly after a tactical foul so they can still keep that counter-attack advantage. Like in the first 5 seconds after the foul, there could be more leniency as to where they can take the free kick from and if the ball is rolling. Lastly, I also think we can make players think twice before not caring about getting a yellow at the end of games if we increase the punishments for yellow cards when they build up during the season. Currently, players will receive a 1-game ban if they get 5 yellows before the 19th game, and then a 2-game ban if they receive 10 yellows before the end of the season. I think we could increase that. I think we should take away the reset halfway through and then make it 4 yellows for a 1-game ban and then 8 yellows for a 2-game ban. This will make yellow cards more of a punishment and hopefully mean that we don't need to change the laws of the game by introducing sin bins. Ultimately, I'm not against football having more trials for blue cards, as we shouldn't just discount something because it's new. Lots of previous rules received initial backlash but are now integral parts of the game. However, unless sin bins are combined with a stop clock, which I definitely don't support, then it will just lead to time wasting and players running down the clock, which will make the game much less exciting. I'm not against blue cards for dissent, but for tactical fouls it just won't work as they're too subjective. Ultimately, I just don't think blue cards will work, and we should be looking to simplify the game and work on the current rules that we have. If you've enjoyed this video, check this one out next.
Does Brexit make my passport expire? No. But it does mean that you are entitled to a beautiful new blue
card.